Hi, boys and girls. So today you guys are going to be reading about a biography, and you're going to be summarizing this biography, and you're going to be identifying key details in this person's life, Lewis Latimer. And in this summary, you're going to have to recall and explain the important aspects of his life. So your think about it, which this is optional to do since this is just the beginning part of our lesson. And you're going to be talking about how is summarizing different from retelling and how are they similar. So you are going to be able to write this, and if you print out your packet in the packet itself, or you can talk about it with someone that's at home with you. But summarizing and retelling are very similar, but they have some differences. So just you can do bullet points, you can talk about it, you can write about it, whatever is comfortable with you. So now we're going to be learning about a biography. Now I know that we've talked about biographies before, so this is kind of a review, but we have to remember that a biography is written by somebody else. Lewis Latimer did not write this biography. He was already passed away when this was written. So someone else did a lot of intense research and they learned a lot about him to write this book. And some pronouns that we can use to help us, because we use pronouns a lot before with biographies and autobiographies. So we'll see they, he, she. We're not going to see I, we, us. Because this person who wrote this it wasn't a part of this event. It was Lewis Latimer and everyone else that he worked with. So that's one thing about a biography is he didn't write it himself. And also these events are usually in chronological order. Now this is pretty important because chronological order means that it happened in time order. So we want to pay attention to that because this is going to be the start. It's going to begin with the start of his life, wherever that began, and it's going to end with his death. All those events in between are the main meat of that biography. They're the main, it's the main details that we have to focus on. And this text feature of a timeline is also in chronological order. They give this text feature to kind of help fill in the main details. They're not going to add everything from that biography onto this timeline, but just the most important things that when you're finished, you review that timeline, you're like, oh yeah, I remember that happened. And that happened too. Oh, that happened after this. The photos and captions are important because we may not be familiar with some of these things that Lewis Latimer uses, and these photographs are going to help support those details. So we may not know what something looks like. We don't even know what he looks like. So we'll be able to look at those photographs and support that information that they're giving us in the biography. Now, the most important purpose for this lesson today is to summarize the biography. And when we summarize something, we're giving the most key details. We don't want the extra fluffiness because we know that texts give a lot of fluffiness or non-essential details. We only want the most important things from the summary because these texts can be kind of long, 3 chapters worth. So we need to make sure that we really are being patient and patient readers and are really looking for those key details. It also says here to reread parts of a text to find more important details. Now, the reason why we might want to reread something is there may be a detail that you think is the most important part, but when you read through again, that's just a supporting detail. And your summary, and make sure your summary is shorter than the text you are summarizing. And then why should I summarize as I read a biography? Summarizing as you read a biography will help you to recall the most important parts of a person's life. So this means taking those notes and writing down your important details. We want to write them as we go because then it's easier to find them later on when we go back to write this actual summary. So this is your before reading words. These are your words that you're going to have to pay attention to as you're reading this text because they might be unfamiliar. So review them before you start reading, and you'll have in the show what you know, you'll have these words to answer questions to also. This is your try it. This is your note sheet that you're going to be using while you're reading this text on Lewis Latimer. And they've already done, I'll say most of chapter one for you because you can see that they left this one blank, so they want you to keep going. But this says Lewis Latimer lived during the time of slavery. His parents even escaped slavery, were escaped slaves. I don't know why I said escape, whatever. Lewis had to work to help his family survive. He joined the Navy to fight against slavery. He became an important inventor despite his tough childhood. So these were all important events. Now, just because they included all of these here does not mean they have to go into the summary. These were all important now, and some of them are going to be included, but maybe not all of them. So the next thing that you're going to do is you're going to pause this video and then you're going to read the text that's in your packet. And make sure that while you're reading, you're copying down from the text or paraphrasing, which we know the difference is one is being a copycat, writing it word for word. The other is putting it into your own words, and writing down some of these details from the text. So go ahead and pause this now, and then go ahead and read this text. All right, now that you've read the text, the first thing you're going to do is the show what you know for the vocab words. So you're going to answer, and this is one part that you're turning into me. So you're going to write down your answers for these words and how they relate to or how these questions relate to the words, and then you have the other part, the written part of the show what you know. Now, this says use the details you recorded on the graphic organizer to write a summary of the inventive Lewis Latimer. So you're going to be reading this and then based on your notes, writing a summary. But your details should be only essential details, the ones that are really going to support the Lewis Latimer. Come back to the title, the inventive Lewis Latimer. So if they give something, a detail that doesn't come back to him being inventive, then it might not be totally essential. Also, it should be in time order. These should start from the beginning and go towards the end because this is a summary of his life. We don't want to start at the end from when he died because it's not going to make very much sense. Start in the beginning of his life of only the essential details and then continue through. I'm going to put this in all caps. Use transition words. You need to use transition words to make your writing flow. Because if you don't have this flow, then it's just going to be choppy facts. We need to keep all these transition words, and I've posted even the same transition word paper that we used in class onto the Schoology page. So if you need some help with some of those transition words, they're not vanilla, then make sure to go back to them and use that to help you while you're writing this. So remember, this is all about finding the essential details in the biography and making sure they're in time order and making your writing flow in your summary so you have all of those transition words. And make sure to come to my office hours if you need help. Okay, so go ahead and start working, guys, and then turn it into me when you're finished.